thank you for joining our Fight Back Hour. My name is Sharon Chicano. I'm a lead volunteer with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, better known as ACS CAN, the Society's advocacy affiliate. I'm also a relayer like so many of you. My passion is fighting cancer, whether it be raising money for the American Cancer Society or being an advocate with ACS CAN. As an ACS CAN volunteer, I've been part of many victories in the fight against cancer, but want to tell you about two recent ones that I'm most proud of. Smoke-Free Atlanta, which passed and went into effect on January 1st, 2020, banned smoking at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport and the many bars and restaurants across the city, thus protecting thousands from secondhand smoke. I am also really proud that the Colorectal Cancer Screening Act passed in 2020 after many years of advocating. This important legislation will remove barriers so our senior citizens on Medicare have access to life-saving cancer screenings without the fear of a large bill upon the completion of a colonoscopy. I would like to ask you to join me in becoming an ACS CAN member by following the link on the screen. Your $10 donation will help us continue our advocacy work on behalf of all cancer survivors. Your donation will also allow you to download a Lights of Hope for our Lights of Hope Across America event. Lights of Hope helps us to honor all cancer survivors, and we want your loved ones to be a part of this event and the hundreds of displays that will take place all across the country in September.
Hello everyone, I am Donna Kimberling, an advocacy lead with Relay for Life. Joining me is Lisa Lacasse, President of ACS CAN, the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us for the Fightback Ceremony. I'm thrilled we get to share a little about ACS CAN, the American Cancer Society's advocacy affiliate. I know this is a big year for ACS CAN. As president of the organization, I'm sure you have a lot to share about that.
I do. And first, I want to say thanks for having me, and hello, relayers out there. You are us, we are you. We just actually finished our relay at Georgetown University just a couple of weeks ago, so I'm thrilled to be here. And yeah, ACS CAN is a really important part of our mission execution. It's our advocacy component. And what that really means is that we have this incredible network of volunteers like you, Donna, across the country. And those people work with their elected officials to bring the voice of cancer patients and important issues to make cancer a priority all across the country. So I'm thrilled to be here today, and it is a big year for us. I think you referenced it is our 20th anniversary this year, so there is much to celebrate.
20 years, that is amazing. How did ACS CAN come into fruition 20 years ago? What was the original concept behind this organization and the role of advocacy in our cancer mission?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So ACS CAN was founded in 2001, but the society has done advocacy for decades, really around tobacco control mostly. And so, but in the late 90s and as we were coming into 2000, the board really decided that advocacy was such an important part of our mission impact. So we like to say that public policy is as important as science in the fight against cancer. And so by creating an advocacy affiliate, we just got another big tool in the toolbox in our fight against cancer. And so so lots changed, but one of the things that hasn't changed is that we have always been all about grassroots, just like the rest of the American Cancer Society. So our grassroots organization is really what fuels our effort and the value that we bring to elected officials nationwide. So that's why we were created, because we had to pass laws in order to continue to the fight against cancer. And it's been a really incredible journey over 20 years.
How much of an impact do you believe ACS CAN has had on the decline in cancer incidence and mortality in the past 20 years? What are some standout moments for you?
Yeah, Again, another really terrific question. So there are three big areas that ACS CAN works in, both here in Washington, D.C., where I am, but in state capitals and some localities all across the country. So access to care is really important. And that is involving a lot of passing laws to make sure we have really good health insurance and people have access to health insurance. Certainly tobacco control, that is a core component of the American Cancer Society, and laws need to be passed in order to make sure we have comprehensive tobacco control. And then we do a lot of work around getting funding for cancer research. There's some state funding for cancer research, but certainly for the National Cancer Institute, we do a lot of work. So many, many standout moments. I didn't start until 2008, but I think everyone always talks about these incredible events that were held in kind of the mid-2000s called Celebration on the Hill. I know a lot of relayers participated in that. We brought over 10,000 volunteers to Washington, D.C. I heard a lot about a sea of purple, and that's certainly a standout moment in the history of the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. But we also, a statistic that I like to talk about is in 2001, only 3% of the United States population was covered by comprehensive smoke-free laws, which means that people can't smoke in restaurants, you can't smoke, near buildings. And by just this past year, we now have over 60% of our U.S. population covered by comprehensive smoke-free laws. That's all about advocacy, and that's a really proud statistic. The other thing I guess I'd probably highlight is that we launched something called the 1 Degree campaign, where we were working to get $1 billion more every single year for the National Cancer Institute. And we were successful in that campaign, and that led immediately into then Vice President Biden's Cancer Moonshot Initiative. So a lot of work and a lot of success around getting more money for cancer research, which means more innovative therapies, and we know will eventually lead to some really important cures for our mission. So I'd say some of those are some, definitely some highlights for me.
I was a relatively new ACS CAN volunteer when the Cancer Moonshot Initiative was announced. I remember how excited I was that the fight against cancer was being made a national priority.
Yeah, it's great that you helped participate in that. And it is an exciting time right now. Obviously, the pandemic has been a huge challenge for our country and our world. But we know that this administration cares deeply about cancer and understands that government needs to participate in order to successfully fight the disease. And so we're really looking forward to engaging more with the administration on some exciting new initiatives as we move forward.
Looking forward, what do you hope to see ACS CAN accomplish in the next 20 years?
So that's a big question. I think that there are a couple of things. I mean, we have a huge focus right now across the enterprise and certainly through our work around health equity and reducing cancer disparities. We know that everyone deserves a right to prevent, find, treat, and survive their cancer. And we know that's not equal for everyone across the country. You have to have good health, high quality insurance. You have to live places where there are oncologists. And so much of our work certainly over the coming decade is going to really be focused on diversifying our volunteers and really staying focused on helping the enterprise work towards decreasing cancer disparities and really achieving health equity for everyone. So that's a big focus area for sure. And the other thing that for me, a real vision is that everyone will have health insurance. I think that how we get there is always really complicated, but we want to make sure that everyone has high quality health insurance. And if you don't have health insurance, it's really hard to stay up to date with your screening and trying to prevent cancer, let alone treat it if you are unfortunately one of those people that hear you have cancer. So I think for me, those are a couple of big visionary issues that I hope come to fruition over the next couple of decades. But I'd love to ask you a question and maybe ask you the same thing. What do you hope to see ACS CAN focus on, and what passion kind of do you bring to your volunteer work that you see going forward?
As a leadership volunteer in Pennsylvania, I'm looking forward to working with my fellow advocates, reaching out into our communities and connecting with organizations we haven't worked with in the past to spread awareness about ACS CAN and our mission. Ultimately, I'm looking forward to another celebration on the Hill where we celebrate the demise of cancer.
I love that. And one of the things I should notice that this year is not only is it the 20th anniversary of ACS CAN, which is a huge celebration in and of itself, but it's also the 50th year of the National Cancer Act that was signed by President Nixon. And there will be many a celebration. I think we've really made incredible progress, but there's so much more to do. And I have to make a plea to all of you that are watching to please join us if you're not already an ACS CAN volunteer, ACS CAN member. We need all of your voices. Our power comes from constituents talking to their elected officials about why changing cancer policies is so important to individuals. So we would love to have you join us. You can spend as little as 5 or 10 minutes sending an action alert, all the way up to the incredible time that a volunteer like Donna gives to us in order to move our agenda forward. So I hope that you check us out at fightcancer.org. There's so much information there. I am sure we're working on an issue that will find your passion as well, and we really need your voice in the fight against cancer.
Lisa, thank you again for joining us for the Fight Back portion of Relay for Life 2021.
Thank you for joining the Fightback Ceremony. Over the next hour, you have 3 tasks. First, go to action.fightcancer.org/go/NRW2021 and make a donation for Lights of Hope. Next, go to fightcancer.org. Read about the amazing work of the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network and become a member of ACS CAN. Lastly, go to relayforlife.org/relay weekend to find and print an I Advocate For sign. Complete it, then share with friends and family using hashtag #RelayForLife. And join us at the top of the next hour for more National Relay Weekend fun. See you then!